Megan. I appreciate that, and welcome to everyone again who's joined us here today to look at laboratory informatics and how it can help you with both preventative control and complying with the FSMA, rules and acts along the way. So just to give you a little bit of an introduction about myself, there you see me up in the right-hand corner. My name is Howard Rosenberg. I'm a senior informatics consultant. I've been involved in the informatics world for, I guess, over 20 years. I guess it's hard to admit, but it's true. I have a great deal of experience and expertise in a variety of different informatics systems, LIMS systems, electronic lab notebook systems, SDMS systems, process control systems, and a whole variety of other type of technologies. I've also had extensive time and experience in laboratories and processes and manufacturing for food and beverage, pharma, chemical, so on and so forth. I also have gained tremendous knowledge over the years through both regulatory requirements and compliance, as well as information technology, and I've done extensive work inside of labs and manufacturing processes. I also, back in the day, had attained my PhD in chemistry. So that gives you a little bit of a basis of where I'm coming from. So let's just go a little bit forward here. Just look at a real brief sort of overview of the agenda today, just so we all know where we're going to be heading. I'm going to talk a little bit about why the Food Safety Modernization Act came into being, a little bit brief slide on why it would be into your best interest to comply with the FSMA, just a really brief overview of the main themes of FSMA, as well as the meat of our webinar today is going to be talking about how the informatics systems in the world can support you in complying with the FSMA and for putting in prevention controls and monitoring those prevention controls. And some of the informatics systems we'll be discussing and how they fit into this whole world are lab information management systems, or LIMS, electronic lab notebook, or ELN, laboratory execution systems, or LES, document management systems, and CAPA, corrective action, preventive action type of systems. We'll go through a brief summary, and then we'll have questions and answers at the end. So, as you're probably all aware, there's a very significant reason, or there's many reasons why the FSMA was enacted. It was signed into law in January of 2011 by President Obama. It's taken quite a long time for the rules to actually come into better focus, and there is additional pieces being added as we speak. As you're probably aware, it started off with the main focus being human food. It's moved into, of course, providing the food safety, produce safety rules, and now they're working on the animal feed type of areas. The main reason is that these whole Modernization Act was put into place was the food-borne illnesses are very significant. There's about 48 million, or about 1 in 6 Americans get sick every year from food-borne illnesses. And these are serious illnesses. About 130,000 or so are hospitalized, with about 3,000 people actually dying. The people who are immune compromised are growing in the country, and there are also weaker people in the world, so they tend to get affected by these things stronger, and it's growing larger in our demographics of our country. And as I said, it's not just a stomach ache along the way. It's actually long-term and can be life-threatening type of diseases. Additional aspects of the FSMA, which talked about the global food supply, a great amount of our fruits and vegetables and other foodstuffs are coming from outside of the country, and part of the goal of this and all of the food safety programs is to make sure that imported foods are as safe for the population as the ones that are domestically made. The food supply, as you know, is getting more complex and high-tech, so there ends up being other opportunities and new pathogens and new type of illnesses that are actually cropping into the food supply. So there needed to be additional controls and legislation involved in putting that in. And so we get about 30% of the population is at risk. So there's a lot of reasons why the Food Safety Modernization Act, because they hadn't really updated things for about 70 years, has really been put in place. I guess the inevitable here is why comply. There is a huge cost to both the food industry as well as the government and the public for the FSMA. I don't know how many hundreds of millions or close to $1 billion, I think, has been estimated along the way. But there is very strong reasons why you would want to actually comply. They now, of course, will require you, if you haven't already done so, to register your facility, and they can revoke your registration if you're not complying. You can have a facility shut down. The FDA has a lot more power now to do these things. There's legal issues that can have ramifications if you're not complying. You could have recalls, which could be voluntary on your part, or now there's a lot stronger mandatory recall kind of recourses that they have at their disposal. And all that is terrible enough, but there's also the inevitable loss of consumer confidence. There was an instance, I don't know, several years ago where I believe it was illnesses was being caused where they thought was from tomatoes coming from Mexico, but in essence ended up being from jalapeno peppers. But the public lost, confidence in those tomato products, and that, destroyed that particular business for quite some time, and it had brand degradation could always affect you as well. So there's many reasons why it's to your advantage to actually comply with the FSMA and put those controls and processes and procedures in place.